Welcome back to Limq Plus, everyone. On this channel, I'm 100%ing Breath of the Wild by a bit every day until the sequel Tears of the Kingdom comes out. And today I want to talk about something in regards to that game. By the way, Tears of the Kingdom coming out in 133 days from today. So once again, a little bit closer. We're also getting to the end of 2020 and the beginning of the years, well, the year of the kingdom. So that's cool. But what I wanted to talk about again is there's recently been some talks again, and I guess it's that time of the year for the annual, well, it's not even annual, like the bi-monthly, honestly, Nintendo Switch Pro rumors. There's actually been multiple rumors recently. I want to start by talking about this IGN video I watched literally today while cooking my lunch. I made my curry, was just chilling and watched this IGN video. What to expect of Nintendo in 2023. And in that video, they made some predictions, like obviously Tears of the Kingdom. They were claiming that it's likely that the Tears of the Kingdom DLC already comes out, which I don't know if they're ever gonna do that, since Tears of the Kingdom was already gonna be a DLC, but who knows. Knowing Nintendo, they probably will do that, knowing that Fire Emblem Engage already has 4 DLCs that you can pre-order. But anyway, one thing in particular that they mentioned again is the Switch Pro and how they've heard rumors that people are expecting the Switch Pro to come out alongside Tears of the Kingdom. I will talk about that in a second, what I think about that rumor, because I want to talk about the other rumor real quick that recently has been spreading, which was, I think, mentioned in a Digital Foundry episode, which is essentially like a gaming podcast, where somebody had claimed that the Nintendo Switch Pro was actually planned. It was gonna be made, but it eventually had to be cancelled due to COVID and the everlasting chip shortage that we had to deal with in the tech industry, making new tech inventions harder to make, essentially, at least in the grand scheme of things. And then people even claimed this is the reason that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was running so poorly, because it was what just happened. Okay, I think there's like an invisible wall around this Korok seed there. Again, if you're missing what I'm doing in my playthrough, I'm basically just checking all of the locations on the 100% route to make sure that I'm not missing Korok seeds. But yeah, that makes a little bit of sense to me. The rumor was essentially, yeah, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were actually made for the Nintendo Switch Pro, but the Nintendo Switch Pro had to be cancelled due to chip shortages, and with that in mind, what happened is that Tears of the Kingdom was delayed to a later slot, and Scarlet and Violet was moved forward, basically on the normal Switch, and because it was on the normal Switch, it couldn't run properly, blah blah blah. Obviously all rumors, but they could have some truth. There could be some truth in them, but they're obviously just rumors, right? So that rumor says the Nintendo Switch Pro was going to be made. It got replaced by the OLED because they couldn't get the chips they needed to make the console real, blah blah blah. Now I want to specifically today talk about the rumor of Tears of the Kingdom releasing alongside a new, upgraded, more powerful Switch, what I think about it, why I think it won't happen, and if it happened, what the benefits could be. First of all, I don't think Switch Pro is happening. At this point, I feel like it's too late. Yes, the Switch is still, first of all, the Switch is still selling well, right? There's still, I've heard multiple chat messages in my live stream where people said, yo, I got a Switch, I got this game for Christmas, Pog. The Switch is still selling well enough, and I think it's fair to say that it has peaked. It's no longer in its peak, which was probably the pandemic. 2020, with the release of Animal Crossing, I've never heard more people buying a Switch than that. I would say that's probably the peak. But I think that peak is over. Yet, the Switch still sells surprisingly well, and I don't think there's a immediate need right now to still make a Switch Pro. Why not just make a new console instead that is actually a hardware upgrade? So my biggest problem with the Switch Pro is, do we call this a new console then? Is it like a new generation, or is it just a slightly more powerful Switch? And if games are developed for the Switch Pro, Does that mean that all games in the future are gonna run like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the normal Switch, essentially forcing Switch users to make that upgrade? Why not just go with like a whole new console? And maybe because of the branding, right? The Switch is super successful, so keeping the branding consistent and being like, yo, this is just the new Switch, you know, get it if you like the Switch. That makes sense to me, but I just really don't see it. The timing doesn't seem right, and especially doesn't seem right to say that Tears of the Kingdom is going to release alongside it. So once the year 2023 rolls around, we can expect our initial Nintendo Switch Direct. There's always a Nintendo Switch, not Nintendo Switch Direct, a Nintendo Direct kind of at the beginning of the year. In the past, it has been either in January or February. It could even be in March, but I think it's fair to say that we're going to get a Direct in those first 3 months. Even if the Switch Pro is actually real, which at this point, again, I really don't think so. I've never believed in the rumors ever since they started. Even though some people claim it was actually real but got cancelled. Even if it was real, there is no way that if the Direct rolls around January, February, that they start the marketing campaign and then they just drop the console in May. I really can't see that happening. Yeah, then again, Nintendo has done things like that before. They like to release, to announce things relatively shortly before. But there's so many like marketed Switch releases that are still yet to come later in the year. I mean, maybe everything is going to come together eventually. The Switch Pro does come out alongside Tears of the Kingdom, and we finally know another reason why Silksong has been delayed so much, because they had to constantly make adjustments to make the game for the new Switch Pro. I don't see it. Now, there is a couple points that I did want to mention when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom specifically, and that may be running on a new console. First of all, this game, even though it's literally launch title for the Switch, yes, Xenoblade 3 looks pretty good, but to me, this is still aesthetically the prettiest game of the Switch after the entire lifespan of the console. Don't get me wrong. You could make an argument that Odyssey or Animal Crossing even looks more polished and more clean, and I would agree with you. Those games in their own right look very clean, very polished. There's some other games, Ultimate, they all run well, they're clean. Those AAA Nintendo games, they work. But aesthetically, I think in terms of beauty, this is still the #1 spot. Tears of the Kingdom, from what we know, doesn't have to improve on the visuals per se. Looks like it's going to be a little bit more lighting intensive. We've seen those sky islands with that golden hue basically everywhere. And I did actually make the observation, and you can go back to the second teaser for Tears of the Kingdom, the one where we probably saw the most gameplay yet. I mean, it's close between the second and the third one, but I think the second one still showed us the most stuff. I did notice something there. If you watch that teaser again, and in these videos, I don't put gameplay or anything on the screen because they're just my daily rant videos. Go back to that second teaser and look at the scenes of Link just exploring Hyrule, the Hyrule that we know. And one thing I really did notice is that this game has basically this white fog on top of it at all times. This makes it super easy to tell if you're watching somebody play the game on Switch or emulator. On emulator, this white, almost like cloud, is never visible, making the colors pop out a little bit more. And I did notice that similar aesthetic in the shots from the teaser. It looked a little bit more colorful, a little bit cleaner, a little bit less clouded. Now, obviously, that sort of effect can easily be achieved by... simply editing the trailer footage a little bit. This doesn't mean by any means that the Switch Pro is real and the game is being made with that console in mind, or at least optimized for it. But that is something I noticed and I wanted to say. So if somehow the Switch Pro does get announced and it actually comes out alongside Tears of the Kingdom, I guess it wouldn't be the biggest surprise of all time, but I still can't see it for so many reasons. Again, biggest reason is that we don't need it, in my opinion. For Tears of the Kingdom specifically, we clearly need it for other games, like Scarlet and Violet. I've seen this video from Austin John Plays where he plays the game in kind of this overclocked mode and it seems to be running so much better. He was one of the people making those claims that potentially Scarlet and Violet, he wasn't making those claims, he was just like thinking about it. Potentially Scarlet and Violet was made for that Switch Pro and they had to actually make it for the Switch instead, causing all of these performance issues. Who knows? At this point, I think there's these two worlds. The world where the Switch Pro never happens. We have 2023 with just the Switch, and then maybe get completely new hardware. Let it be called the Switch 2, which honestly, not even that bad of a name. Or the Switch Pro. Even though I feel like on the Switch 2 would be, I guess recently just like putting 2 after your name has been a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a meme. Definitely not looking at Overwatch. But it would, in my opinion at least, set it a little bit more apart, right? Like the Switch Pro to like normie consumers might just sound like it's still the Switch, whereas the Switch 2 could be like the brand new thing. I don't know. Well, I did work in marketing before, but that's a while ago now. I like Switch 2 more, but anyway, I don't think there's going to be a Switch Pro for Tears of the Kingdom. The timing just doesn't seem right. I think 2023 will just continue to just go with the Switch. We still have some good games coming out this year. Well, this upcoming year. It's almost 2023. But there is a couple interesting factors that might make this a little bit more likely. Mainly the Scarlet and Violet incident with the poor performance, the delays of games like Breath of the Wild 2, aka Tears of the Kingdom, maybe Silksong has something to do with it, a game that kept being delayed and now is probably slotted for a release after Tears of the Kingdom. I would be surprised if it's any earlier. I'm expecting Silksong to drop around June or something this year, which if the game was also made or like optimized as a port for that mysterious Switch Pro, that would explain that maybe a little bit more. People would be mad, by the way, if the entire reason that the Silksong is delayed so much was because, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't really be mad if it's related to like chip shortages and just the realities of the 2020 pandemic. But yeah, all things considered, I just wanted to give you my thoughts on the Switch Pro. I don't think it's happening. I really don't think it's going to be happening for Tears of the Kingdom. But there's actually some interesting points that might make it seem more likely. So I guess I just wanted to give you my thoughts. I wouldn't be, oh my god, this is the biggest surprise of all time if it did happen, because there is some points towards it, but really thinking about it, I think it's unlikely. I think Tears of the Kingdom can run perfectly fine on the Switch if it's as polished as this game. And that's pretty much all I care about. Well, not really. I would like to be able to play Scarlet and Violet without getting a headache. I do own Violet, but it's actually hard for me to enjoy. Sometimes because of the performance issues, even though the game is pretty good. So I just play Pokemon Showdown instead. To at least be able to battle. But yeah, that being said, those are just my thoughts on the Switch Pro potentially or potentially not, probably not coming out for Tears of the Kingdom. I'm very excited though. We're getting very close to 2023 and the Nintendo Direct, the early Nintendo Direct for that year can basically be announced any day now. And I think that's exciting. Thank you guys so much for watching today. 133 days until our game comes out. If you want to, I'll be back tomorrow with another video. So if you want to, you can subscribe to get a notification every day, because I'm uploading every day and have been for around 80 days now. Some of the videos actually are not on the channel anymore because at the start I was kind of doing a little bit of a different format than doing this 100% playthrough. We're at 37% now. Good point to stop. Again, thank you for watching and I will see you tomorrow.